There is too much happening right now. I need to clean. My life is falling apart. And I didn't even plug in my microphone yet. Right. I'm a mess. How's the framing? Framing's good. Framing's better than this episode of Beast Morphers, but not by much. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am Britt, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you probably should, because I talk about geeky things. Things like Power Rangers Beast Morphers on Mondays, and my cat is still trying to eat paper. What is wrong with my cat? Now she's playing with a pen. Whatever, that's fine. So on Mondays on my channel, we talk about Power Rangers Beast Morphers because I'm 33, and I've liked Power Rangers off and on since the beginning. And so I feel like I can talk about Power Rangers and, you know, talk about it critically, which sometimes I regret because I put too much, faith in a television show meant for children. Which is funny because the generation that's watching it is my generation, and Hasbro really needs to get on that. Anyway, let's talk about episode 19, Rewriting History. This episode opens up with Steel meeting a dog and then asking everyone if it's normal for humans to want to have pets. And the others are all saying, yes, it's incredibly normal for humans to want pets. I mean, it's incredibly normal. I have a ton of them. I live in a zoo. You might actually hear the crickets chirping. No, I don't have crickets for pets. I feed crickets to my pets. So yes, this episode very much just already touched my soul because I am a pet lover and I live in a zoo. Steel decides that he wants a pet, and the others are all trying to convince him not to get a pet because he's a robot, I guess is maybe the reason. So Nate then says, if you can take care of a plant for a week, I will get you a pet. Because, you know, plants are very much like pets. Plants try to eat your lights while you're filming. Plants also try to eat your paper while you're filming. Plants also try to knock things over while you're filming videos. It's just eyeing my light right now, and it's making me very nervous. Goldar, can you handle my cat? Magna Defender? You? You're both inanimate objects. Got it. Okay. Why can't Toy Story be real? I'm in one of those moods. I woke up at 4 for no reason. So we jump to the villains, and Vargoyle has been able to hack into the television station as we talked about in the last episode, and he decides to use this power to send out this wave, which freezes everybody and then rewrites the history in their minds. And the history that he decided to rewrite in their minds was the beginning of this season. If you guys don't remember the beginning of this season, originally the 3 Rangers were supposed to be Blaze, Roxy, and Ravi. But Blaze and Roxy were turned into evil avatars, and now they're evil Power Rangers, which then Devin and Zoe replaced Blaze and Roxy respectively. So that being said, this changed the course of a lot of things that occurred, at least in people's heads. And we're going to talk about all of that in just a minute, because I like the concept of the story, but the execution is pretty poor. It's a story about Beast Morphers. Why are we surprised? Are we? No. Essentially, in this new reality, Blaze and Roxy are the Red and Yellow Rangers, and it appears that Nate has no memory of being the Gold Ranger, meaning that Steel was never actually created because Ben and Betty do not recognize him later. That, of course, means that Devin never snuck into the base, and that means that Zoe still works in the laundry facility. So there are a lot of things that are kind of changing. Zoe wakes up in the lab and feels very weird because obviously she's not supposed to be there. She's supposed to be doing the laundry. Devin was with Steel. When Devin wakes up, he freaks out because he's right next to a robot. And that just is a weird thing to wake up next to if you do not remember that you are friends with this robot. Luckily, Steel actually remembers everything because he's not entirely human and he's not entirely a robot, so his memory was not wiped, and therefore he remembers everything and is trying to convince Devin that he is in fact the Red Power Ranger. Devin, of course, doesn't believe this because he has no memory of being the Red Power Ranger, but he goes with Steel anyway to the base because Steel says that he can get him into the simulator. That Steel can get Devin into the simulator. So they go, and this is where they come across Ben and Betty, who do not recognize either one of them. Obviously, not recognizing Devin because Devin never became the Red Ranger in this reality, but also not recognizing Steel, which is what makes me believe that Nate is not the Gold Ranger, and nor was Steel ever created by Nate, because Steel was created when Nate became the Gold Ranger. So, process of elimination. Logic. It's fine. I use my brain sometimes. In this scene where Devin and Steel go to the base, this is where they see Devin and Roxy hanging out with the others, and Steel's a little concerned because obviously if Steel remembers everything, Steel remembers that they are evil avatars and that they are not good guys, they are not Power Rangers, and Steel gets rightfully nervous about it. Devin obviously has no memory of any of it because he doesn't know who they are, and all he knows is that he has seen them at the gym, and that is all his memory is of them. He doesn't even know that they're Power Rangers because Power Rangers apparently have the secret identities, which they did not make clear through the majority of this season so far, but that's fine. When Ben and Betty see them, they notice the wrist comms and they are told to hand them over. Devin gladly hands his over because he doesn't even know why he has it, and Steel says, no, it is mine. So then Ben and Betty kind of attack Steel. Steel breaks off his arm and the arm attacks them in really terrible CGI, and he loses his wrist comm anyway, and then the arm comes back to him at some point without the wrist comm. So Ben and Betty have both of those wrist comms now, and so then Devin and Steel wander off to try and figure this out and try and save everyone, except for, of course, Devin has no idea what's actually happening. Steel is the one that wants to save everyone. This is when Vargoyle attacks, and Steel puts down this plant that Devin was helping him purchase that he named Spot, and he starts to attack Vargoyle, and Vargoyle is kind of winning against Steel when Devin decides to jump in and try to save him, which then his cheetah powers activate and he is able to speed up and hurt Vargoyle enough to make Vargoyle want to go away. And this is when Devin realizes, oh, I have super speed, means I'm a superhero, which means I must be a Power Ranger. But of course he still has no memory, so then Devin asks Steel, how do I morph? And Steel says you have to go get the wrist comms back. So he uses his cheetah powers again because he knows how to do that now apparently, and goes and easily steals them back from Ben and Betty with absolutely no worries or issues whatsoever. Oh, the lazy-ass writing that exists. While Blaze and Roxy are in the base, Roxy goes up to her real body and puts a thing inside of the stasis pod and says that this is going to be our little secret. You get to figure out kind of what it is at the end of the episode, but it's still up in the air, but we'll see next week what this might be, because I'm sure it's leading up to something that will be anticlimactic in the end. Because it's Power Rangers Beast Morphers, so, I mean, what do you expect? Devin and Roxy are also convincing the other Rangers to help them load up some stuff so that they can steal it and bring it back to Evox. Because why? Well, because, of course, they're the Red and Yellow Ranger. Always blindly follow the people that are Power Rangers. Always blindly follow them because they're always good guys, right? Right. Devin and Steel go to the TV station to try and stop whatever it is that is happening, and they are able to figure out the thing that is causing the wave. They try to blast it, but they can't. Then Devin tries to climb the tower, but it's electrified. So Steel says, you go and try to shut off the main power. I'm going to go up and I'm going to try climbing this. I'm part robot, so I should be able to do this without getting too hurt, because metal doesn't conduct electricity. wouldn't fry a robot. Devin runs into the building and he is stopped and he is freaking out, telling somebody that this is an emergency. He needs to shut off all of the power. This guy just automatically believes him and points him in the direction of where he can go. And this is when Vargoyle attacks again. And this time, Devin has his wrist calm and Steel taught him how to morph. So he morphs into the Red Ranger and fights Vargoyle. Vargoyle realizes that his Morph-X is low, so he contacts Scrozzle to try and get more Morph-X, but then Blaze and Roxy steal the Morph-X that he's about to send to Vargoyle, and indicating that they want Vargoyle to be destroyed by the Red Ranger at this point, and that they're okay with this outcome. Vargoyle is in fact defeated by Devin, and Steel is able to get up to the top of the tower and hit it by also is in essence destroying himself, but we'll get there. Don't worry, that's not a major spoiler for the show. It's fine because he's a Power Ranger and Power Rangers always turn out fine. Let's not talk about that. Blaze and Roxy, before the memories all come back, are able to get some mega transporters into a vehicle. When the Rangers' memories all return, at this point it's Rafi, Zoe, and Nate's memories that have returned. I mean, Devin's also returns, but he's not in this particular moment. They take their fighting stances, ready to fight Blaze and Roxy, but Blaze and Roxy just teleport away with the mega transporters. That was smart, but I mean, you know, I get it. Like, the whole story. I'm not going to say that this is a bad portion of the show, but it's all of it, guys. Just there's a lot of execution problems that we're going to talk about in a minute. Devin brings Steel back to the base. Nate is really upset. Obviously, it is his brother, so Nate wants to save Steel. Then a Gigadrone is sent down, so the 3 original Rangers go to fight that monster, and Nate spends the whole battle trying to save Steel. Once the monster is defeated in the Megazord, they all come back to the base and save Steel. So Steel's still alive, everyone. Congratulations, a Ranger hasn't died. We're not going to talk about it. At this point, Nate feels kind of bad that he never trusted Steel in the idea of having a pet because he just saved the whole freaking city by himself. I'm gonna stay out of it as somebody who works in the pet industry. So Nate decides to get Steel a dog. I worked in the pet industry. I'm gonna stay out of this one too. They meet a little girl who really wanted a puppy. This is very obviously not a puppy. It is very obviously an adult spaniel. But it's smaller, so like kids would think it's a puppy because all small dogs are puppies. I mean, I still call my giant ass golden retriever a puppy, so. I'm also gonna start swearing more now because I'm, just in case, you know, the government finds this video and thinks, hey, this is a kid video. No, it's not. Fuck everybody. So we end with the villains, and we find out that Roxy is actually sabotaging her own stasis pod with her own body in it, so don't know what that means, but they also delivered the mega transporters, obviously, to Evox, and that is how the episode ends, everyone. So let's talk about it. There you have it, the entire episode recap of the episode that aired this morning, Saturday morning. Ugh. I'm not even gonna pretend like this is a Monday. I feel like it's a Monday. So what did I like about it? Overall, I liked the overall story. I always like when things get turned upside down. Power Rangers does have a long history of turning back time. We've had many times, twice specifically in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, when the Power Rangers were turned back into kids. Or, you know, like King for a Day, like I talk about all the time. King for a Day is one of my favorite episodes in Power Rangers Zeo, and it's, you know, Tommy gets to lose his memories. I like when people lose their memories. I like when time is turned back. I like seeing alternative realities. That is why I bought Shattered Grid. I'm really excited to actually be able to see this alternate reality of Power Rangers of if Tommy never became a good guy. And so I like those alternative realities to your normal reality. So I like the overall concept of this episode, and I wish I could say I actually liked it. Unfortunately, I feel like because they didn't elongate it into 2 episodes, which I think they should have done, they just kept it in 1. They don't know how to tell a good short story, unfortunately. They always have to seem rushed, and I think part of that might be because I don't really know if the episodes, I need to look from when it was on Disney, from when it was on Fox, from when it's on Nickelodeon to see if the actual airtime is different, because I feel like Nickelodeon episodes seem so much shorter. And I don't know if that's the case because Nickelodeon obviously just wants to advertise to children. And yet YouTube can't. Anyway, but yeah, and so, like, I get that they want to have as much, you know, commercials, especially this time of year as we're heading into the holiday season. But I feel like this episode just seemed very, very rushed. There's so many things they could have done with this episode that would have made it so much cooler. Like, Devin and Roxy could have gotten their hands on a morpher and actually morphed and caused more trouble. There could have been more focus on that versus on Devin and Steel actually trying to save everyone. There should have been also some focus on, like, this uncomfortable feeling that you have of, you know, Ravi and Roxy, would they still be together at this point in this reality? You know, so why didn't we have any Ravi-Roxy scenes? You know, why didn't we have this really uncomfortable situation about, you know, Nate really trying to trust, you know, Devin, or really trusting Devin, all that kind of stuff. Like, why didn't we have more focus on that? The actual, like, Roxy, why do I keep saying Devin? It's Blaze. I'm gonna just leave it like this. Anyway, I'm too tired to go back. This is going to be a rough video shooting day. But seriously, why couldn't they have had more of Blaze and Roxy? Why couldn't they have done more with them and this uncomfortable feeling we would have had of knowing, the audience knowing that they're evil, but the others not realizing that they're evil? There could have been so much more done there. I feel like this episode was just very, 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 very just rushed. And it shouldn't have been. There should have been so much more that they could have done with this episode by just elongating it into 2 episodes and making it a 45-minute episode instead of a 25-minute episode. And I just think it would have been much better. And I don't know. I do also have to appreciate the one piece of science that they did partially at least live up to. And that was there's like this whole story about Ben and Betty to being teleported to really weird places, and none of which really made sense because they were at the top of a erupting volcano, which they would have died, and then they were in space, which they would have died. But the one thing I do appreciate is that when they were in space and they were screaming, you couldn't hear anything because in space you wouldn't be able to hear anything. So I do appreciate that, but they also would have exploded. So I just wish Ben and Betty just didn't exist. I mean, honestly, like I've said before, their actors are fine. Like, I don't mind their actors, but I just have serious problems with their characters. I just do. They don't add anything to the story, and it just makes me angry. I don't like when characters are just there for comic relief or just there for whatever reason. Like, they actually need to add to the story. I don't like when characters are not adding to the story. And Ben and Betty never add to the story. And I see all over the internet, like, Betty's going to become a Power Ranger. If that were to happen, I would legitimately just never watch Beast Morphers ever again. I do not like Ben and Betty. I don't understand how people do like Ben and Betty. I do not understand why they think that there are any use of characters. Like I said, their actors are fine. This is nothing about their actors. This is 100% about the execution of their characters and the creation of their characters. They just should never have existed. And it's not good. It's not good. But yeah, so there you have it. My thoughts on this episode. I liked the overall story, but the execution of the story was very, very poor. And I haven't said it yet this episode, so Hasbro, call me. Still haven't gotten that call yet. I am free to move to New Zealand, to run your show, to tell people what to do, to tell the writers they're stupid, to hire better directors, to hire better writers, to do a better job for you, to make Power Rangers what it once was, to breathe life back into this franchise, because it is dying. And it is dying because Saban tried to kill it, and you are not doing a good job at resuscitating it just yet, but we're going to see, Hasbro, how you handle next series, because obviously Saban had a huge role in creating Beast Morphers, and hopefully he has no say, and his team has no say, and we are done with the shitty show running, the shitty directing, and the shitty writing coming up in the future. And I need to stop my cat from doing bad things. I need to plug in my camera because I just plugged it in to be able to finish this freaking video because it keeps dying on me. And so I will see you guys all on Thursday, where I'm going to tell you guys a story about the reason why I drink. And then back here next Monday when we talk more about Beast Morphers. But we're coming down to the end. And once we end the first season of Beast Morphers, I am going to take that time off and not make 2 videos a week. So Mondays are coming to an end here shortly until Beast Morphers comes back. And then we'll talk about the second season of Beast Morphers leading up to Jason's return, which I'm very, very excited to see. And yeah, Jason deserves better than this, but this is what we got, guys. This is what we have. See you guys all next time. Bye.